Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy the Handmade Homeschooler, and today is an FAQ video. I asked in my group if anyone had any questions for an FAQ video, and I got a ton. And some of you asked multiple questions, and that's totally okay. But I might have to split this up into two different videos. I might not be able to answer everything. And if I can't answer a question, I will let you know. Like, that's not something that I'm qualified to answer. So with that, let's jump into some of your questions. Okay, the first question is from Sarah, and she asked for the best devotionals to do as a family and teen. So my personal favorite devotions are these Table Talk devotions from Ligonier. We have a subscription. We've had a subscription for about 2 years now. I think it's like $20 a year is what we pay. I think we got it on sale, but check out Ligonier Ministries. I'll try to remember to leave a link down below. They send you like this little magazine, and there's articles in the front, and the whole back side is daily devotionals, and this is one devotional. So this is for Tuesday the 9th right here. This is one devotional, and then each page has a new devotional. Sometimes I share them on my Instagram. So here's the 10th and the 11th. So they're not long, but they're theologically solid. They're really rich in information, and they don't take an hour to do. So those are my favorite. My daily homeschool schedule. I don't have a schedule. That's the best way to answer that. I have teenagers, for people who might not understand why I don't have a schedule. I have 2 teenagers. I have one who's in high school. I have one who's in upper middle school. And really, we don't have like a set schedule. They kind of get up when they get up. I don't really, unless it gets really late or something, of course, you know, I'm gonna have people having a fit in the comments. We kind of stick more to a routine. So they get up and they basically do the same things in the same order each day, but we don't have like a set schedule. As long as they get things done when they need to, by the time, you know, dinner time comes around, I don't care. Like, I'm really loose with that. I give them kind of free range to take responsibility for themselves and to do their work. And that seems to work out the best for us. And, you know, they do a really good job. I put up on the whiteboard that I have in here kind of all the subjects that they have, just like as a checklist for them to kind of mentally see, like, okay, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And they just go through their list, and usually they're done. I mean, it's not like a big deal in my house. Okay, so Sarah also asks, healthy eating as a family and your go-to meal and snacks. So healthy lifestyle is just something that we kind of implement in my house. It's kind of just like a overall thing that we all do. All of us exercise on our own. I love to work out. Working out is like a hobby of mine, and it's something that I enjoy. So it's kind of like a lifestyle thing at my house. So because of that, we don't eat a lot of like super unhealthy foods, but we do eat those things in moderation. I guess like my go-tos are usually lean cuts of meat and vegetables, and then usually a smaller starch on the side. One of my go-to websites for meals is natashaskitchen.com. I love Natasha's Kitchen. I want to get her cookbook. She just released a cookbook. I make almost everything she puts out. My boys love her food. And the Pioneer Woman, I have been cooking her food for longer than she's been on television. I was one of her blog readers, and when she went on the Food Network and actually started putting out cookbooks, I started collecting her cookbooks. I have all of them, but the one that just came out, I cook all of her food. So I usually flip back and forth between Natasha's Kitchen and the Pioneer Woman, and my boys are super happy with that. Although I do modify, you know, everything. I make sure that we have a lot of vegetables. One of the questions is also about dyslexia. I'm not qualified to answer that one. I don't have children in that with that problem, nor was I qualified to teach anything like that. So that's something I really can't answer. I'm sorry. So Tara asks, I would love to know how long you spend on school teaching, preparing, grading versus how long your kids spend doing school. You know, I've never timed how long I grade and do things like that. And I really want to say it kind of depends, because some weeks we have more work than others. But like okay, so for example, yesterday while the kids were doing school, I was grading. And I think I maybe spent like 15 minutes grading a bunch of papers from last week. I mean, it was seriously like a 10 or 15 minute type of thing. It's pretty organized because I have it in that floral binder that you guys see me all over social media with, that I carry around. I did a flip through on that binder, and I have like the answer keys to a lot of the workbooks in the back of that binder, so it just makes it simple. So I already have it out. All I need is their workbook, and I just kind of, you know, go through all of their stuff. It makes it super simple and really streamlined. Now, as far as like preparing, again, it really depends on like what the assignments were for that week. So if it's like a big test week or something, they're not going to have as many assignments, so it might only take me like a couple minutes. But usually like Saturdays, I try to do the homeschool planning, which usually takes me like 10 or 15 minutes. It's not a big deal, especially with generations, because generation books, I'm going to see if I have one right here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so like generation books, they have the schedule right at the front for me, which makes it like really easy for my planner. I know you guys can't see very well, I'm sorry, but like this is the actual schedule in the front, and like the first 10 pages are dedicated to the schedule, and it has a spot for the due date, whether or not they completed it, and the grade, and then it's broken up into weeks and even semesters in here. So like the schedule is already written out for me for most of our subjects, because we use generations for pretty much anything that I can use generations for. And the whole schedule is written out for me. I just have to transfer it to my planner so I have a record of it, and so I can kind of look at it as a whole instead of getting out all of the books, you know, trying to figure out what's what. It just makes it easier if it's all in one place for me, and I can kind of see it at a glance, and that way I can see like, okay, he's got a test here, here, and here this week, or whatever. So I want to say that takes me maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. And then the only thing that takes me the most amount of time is either making the anchor charts or reading the textbooks before the assignments. I try not to spend more than like an hour or two on Saturdays, because I want my day, you know, like I want my weekend. So I don't spend that long. Now, as far as how long the kids do school, typically between 4 to 5 hours a day. And that's I know that sounds like a lot for homeschoolers, but my kids are older. So again, you know, when you have kids that are that old, you have to. And there are certain laws for each state for how long you need to spend homeschooling. So again, I'm being compliant with laws and things like that in our states. So our goal is 4 hours, and you know that it's not just schoolwork either. We're talking about physical education. We're talking about SAT prep. We're talking about studying and homework, and you know, and there's some days where, you know, my oldest especially might be working 6 hours. He might have like a paper he's got to do or something. So, you know, on the lower end, it might be 4. On the higher end, it might be 6. You know, every day is different. Okay, so Amanda asks, if your boys weren't involved with sports, something else for us at this time outside of the home, do you feel like involvement at church is enough? You know, I think that that's a really subjective question. It's a good question, but I think personally, it is a personal decision for each family. If you don't feel like it's enough, do something else. But like, it's totally up to you. So I have a homemaking question from Amanda. What are some tips for addressing bad attitudes when helping mom around the house, or even with kids taking initiative with picking up after themselves? So I totally get this. You know what actually helped was my kids getting older. I know that's not an answer that people want, but you know, I want to say too, when I got sick, that's when things changed in my house drastically, was when I got sick about 3 or 4 years ago, and I literally couldn't do those things. And then my kids, they took it upon themselves to do it. Like it was incredible. I'm very, very thankful for them and my husband. I would say get your husband involved because that really helps too. I've seen parents do chore charts, and when my kids were younger, that's actually what we did, and they really liked it because they're boys and they like seeing like the things being done, like they like a visual. That, I think that's the word I'm looking for. They liked that visual of seeing those things physically be checked off. Now, I've seen families where they do things in the morning. So like before they even start school, they get their chores done. So they have like assigned chores for each child and they got those things done. I know Family Renewal with Israel and Brooke Wayne, they have a podcast. Now, forgive me, this was back in like 2017 when I listened to this, and I know that's a long time ago, but I listened to their podcast on homemaking and assigning chores. That one was really helpful. If you can go back in their archives and find that one is super duper helpful. I don't know, maybe try something before school starts. Like, okay, we have to do these 3 things before school starts, and kind of make it like a daily routine. And I noticed that when you make something a daily routine with kids, it kind of just becomes ingrained in their, you know, in the way that they do things. And eventually it will become kind of second nature and you won't even have to ask. So maybe that's a better answer. I don't know. Okay, and Amanda also asks about getting his schoolwork done in a timely manner and can easily get a bad attitude. Will be a teenager in a couple months. My kids went through this. Okay, so Amanda's basically asking about a child who's about to become a teenager with a bad attitude, with kind of like lax work and things like that. I had a child who went through this. I want to say it's like the age, like they all go through it. Now, I won't say they all go through it because not every kid goes through it, but a lot of kids go through it at that age. And like, we had to just, girl, you just put your head down and you just keep going. It's like this like teenage rebellion thing, and we had to work it out. We had some things to work through. My husband and I had to kind of tag team on this and kind of get through that phase. But yeah, my oldest definitely went through that. You know, I want to say it's a little touch of rebellion. But if you just keep your routine, keep praying, do your family devotionals, really pray over that child and try to be with them and let them know like, hey, you know, I'm here for you if you need anything. You will get through it. It takes time and a little bit of maturity on that child's part. They will get through it. They always do. But I did not let it slide either. Like, no, you have to complete these things. These are your responsibilities. These are your tasks for today. I'm here with you if you need my help, but you do actually have to do it. So, you know, it's a little bit of tough love, but in a good way. You know, we're not talking about tough love in a bad, you know, domineering way. We're talking about, you know, a tough parental love that is needed sometimes. We got through it. We got through it with the oldest. I'm hoping, you know, that my youngest doesn't have to go through it, but every child is different. Not every child goes through it. But, you know, as long as they understand what their responsibilities and their tasks are, and, you know, that you are there to help them, usually they will work it out on their own eventually. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here because we are getting a little long, and then I'm gonna pick it up in a part 2 because there are still a bunch more questions about homemaking and homeschooling and things like that. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.